Once, in a quiet village wrapped in the arms of ancient trees and golden mornings, lived a man named Keshav, who was a potter. Every day, as the sun peeked over the banyan branches, he walked barefoot to his little clay shed. It was a place where the world slowed down, where silence spoke louder than chaos. But what no one saw was the weight he carried inside. Keshav's hands were steady, trained by years of repetition. He could spin the wheel with grace. He could mold the finest curves. But what he couldn't shape were his thoughts. With every pot, there was a voice. You're too slow. You failed your family. You'll never be enough. The wheel turned endlessly, and so did his mind. Years ago, in that same shed, Keshav sat with broken pots scattered around him. His savings were gone. His wife had left, and the village whispered behind closed doors. He worked harder, slept less, but the more he tried to escape the noise outside, the louder the noise inside became. That night he almost gave up. Almost. The next morning, under the shade of the peepal tree, he met a stranger. An old man with eyes like still water and words like wind. He didn't preach. He simply watched Keshav in silence. Then he said, "You treat your clay with patience, but your mind with punishment." And just like that, a seed was planted, not of advice, but of reflection. That evening, as Keshav worked, the pot he was shaping cracked in his hands. A thin fracture, a quiet failure. He stared at it, not with frustration this time, but curiosity. He thought of the stranger's words. Maybe it wasn't about stopping the cracks. Maybe it was about learning from them. He didn't throw the pot away. He placed it gently aside. Days passed. Keshav spent more time sitting, observing, breathing. He watched how the children played without fear, how the goats walked without hurry, how the river moved, never arguing with the rocks. Something began to shift. The thoughts still came, but they no longer stayed. One morning, a curious boy wandered into his shed. Keshav didn't shoo him away. He smiled and guided his small hands over the clay, and in that moment something beautiful happened. He saw his younger self, and he whispered not to the boy, but to his own heart. "You were always enough." At the village market, Keshav stood behind a row of polished pots. Not the biggest, not the fanciest, but each one was made with care. People began to notice, not just the pottery, but the man who had returned with peace in his eyes. He sold more that day than ever before. But his real earning was inside. That night, by the fire outside his hut, Keshav sipped his tea. The stars blinked above him, the wind played with the leaves, and the thoughts still came. But now, they were guests, not invaders. He smiled, because peace didn't mean silence. It meant understanding the noise. And finally, he had. We all have our storms. But sometimes, the way to calm the storm isn't by fighting it, but by watching it, until it passes on its own. And it always does. But someday, may you find your stillness, right where your cracks are. It's about shaping something beautiful, from the things that once broke you. Sit with your thoughts. Don't rush to silence them. Understand them. Transform them. Subscribe to Echoes of Wisdom for more soulful storytelling that helps you pause, breathe, and grow. And remember, sometimes the softest stories leave the deepest marks.